Hi everyone, my name is Corlett and I am a Senior Health and Wellness Consultant with GBS. During this short presentation, we are going to discuss how to connect to your work, but more specifically, how to connect to your coworkers so it can help support your overall purpose within the workplace setting. So with that, let's get started. This is a brief agenda of what we're going to be reviewing during this presentation. First, we're going to start with what strong relationship qualities actually are. Then we're going to touch on the benefits of having strong relationships within the workplace, and then we'll end with tips on cultivating these different relationships. So first, I want to touch on strong relationship qualities. So whether you work part-time, full-time, remote, or in an office setting, so many of our hours during the week are spent working. Since we are creatures of connection, it really is crucial to have a strong, supportive relationship with our coworkers, whether it's our team or our colleagues, because so much of our time is revolved around working. If we don't have these strong social connections, it really can potentially impact our feeling of purpose within our role at the workplace. So listed here are some components of a strong relationship. So first, I want to talk about trust. When there's mutual trust within a workplace relationship, members of your team or some of your colleagues can share ideas and thoughts without feeling reserved. This also can allow team members or other employees within your organization to open up more a little bit on a personal level. We all want to see the human side of things, and sometimes in a workplace setting, we can be a little bit more reserved, a little bit quieter. So building that trust between one another can allow us to open up a little bit. Similarly, with respect, it needs to be mutual, right? So if we all are providing respect towards others' ideas or with others' thoughts, we really can find the value in everyone's input, and it will allow for a more collaborative effort. It will build a little bit more of a strong relationship, whether it's one-on-one or within a team. So again, trust and respect, I would say, are big components when it comes to building a strong relationship. Then, of course, there needs to be self-awareness. So what I mean by this is that with self-awareness, you need to consciously be aware of how you are reacting to individuals' ideas, and also be consciously aware of whether or not you are providing that trust or respect. And if you're providing an open communication setting, and just gauge whether or not you are coming off as somebody that someone can build a strong relationship with. And then, of course, inclusion, because if we are excluding individuals, whether it's within the team or, again, even as a full entire workforce, if there's any type of inclusion, it is going to result in a negative feeling from others, could provide a toxic work environment, and it's not going to allow for a strong relationship to really build. And then in addition to trust and respect, I think communication is going to be one of the biggest components when you're considering building relationships. So having open communication with your supervisor or director, but then also with your team members, even upper management beyond your director. If you have this safe, open communication policy, then that's going to allow for others to express concerns if there are ever any. It's going to allow for team members to come to meetings with ideas. It's going to enhance maybe some strategies because people are able to openly brainstorm. So make sure that you have an open communication policy. If you are working in a remote setting, make sure that this open communication policy can easily be discussed over a Zoom meeting, or even just the Teams collaboration channel, or any type of internal chat system that you may use. So make sure that you are communicating that you have an open door policy. So now I'm going to touch on the benefits of strong relationships within the workplace. So one, having a strong work relationship with your team or others will allow you to be more productive. Because if you are feeling a sense of community in your place and your purpose within your workplace, it's likely going to motivate you to be more productive. I do want to caution though, with the increased productivity, having strong relationships and friendships within the workplace can also result in decreased productivity, only because you may find that you and your teammate have been talking for over an hour and you haven't had any work done. So it's important to make sure that you still have boundaries set with your team. And that way you'll be able to actually have that productivity drive rather than it negatively impacting your productivity. And then of course, like I've kind of already mentioned, it improves collaboration. So when you have that strong sense of a solid foundation of a workplace relationship with your colleagues, you likely are going to be a little bit more vulnerable with your ideas, or more receptive to others who have ideas and whatnot. So it's really going to improve that collaboration. And with that too, it can also impact transferring skills, knowledge. So again, everyone's going to be coming together. It's going to be more of a safe space if they have a trusting, respected work environment, and everyone can ultimately grow from that. And then of course, if there are strong positive relationships within the workplace, it's going to improve your employee retention because it's not feeding any type of toxicity within the workplace. It could improve employee morale as well. So just consider that. And then again, like I've mentioned, being that we work so often and we are constantly either trying to fit our schedule around work, or we are primarily at work during the work week, we need to make sure that we have healthy behaviors within the workplace setting. And of course, that is going to be impacted by our social behavior. So if we have strong social connections and we're feeling that sense of purpose within our different teams at work, and that reflectively can impact us individually, we're going to have improved health outcomes, both mentally and physically. So how do we cultivate these relationships? What are some active ways that we can make sure that we are building these strong relationships or starting to build the strong relationships? Where do we get started? So as I mentioned, in addition to the trust and respect, communication is really going to be key when it comes to building these relationships. So one, make sure that you are practicing your strong communication skills. What I mean by this is actively listening to whoever is talking. A way that you show that you're actively listening is being fully engaged, giving them your undivided attention. When the individual is done talking, your response includes points that they just expressed to you. That way you're reiterating what they had just said, and that way they know that they are being heard. Making eye contact, again, not having distractions, making sure you're not looking at the team behind you or in the lunchroom and what's going on in there. Avoid your phone or an email popping up. Make sure that you are actually staying engaged and maintaining that eye contact and giving that undivided attention. And then of course, be friendly. Something as simple as saying a hello as you're walking next to somebody in the hallway that maybe you don't typically communicate with really can go a long way. Also, maybe just step out of your comfort zone. I know here at GBS, we have many of departments and teams, and I think sometimes it can be so natural to stay with your team, but I have noticed at GBS, more and more teams are starting to kind of merge together, step out of their comfort zone, be friendly to others that maybe they don't associate with every single day on a regular basis. So just be friendly. It really can go a long way. Another way to cultivate these relationships is making time. Make time for the relationships that you want to have matter and the ones that you know could impact you and your entire purpose within your workforce. So make time before meetings. Kind of going back on that productivity point, have a boundary. Maybe the first 7 minutes of your meeting is time to catch up, hear about everybody's weekend or what they did the night before or any new fun updates. but maybe just set a time limit on there so that way you can continue to be productive. But then also if you connect prior to your meetings, which is why I recommend prior, not necessarily after, is because once you break that, you have that little icebreaker of kind of catching up with everybody, it will allow you to feel a little bit more personalized with everybody, therefore allow more of a safe environment where you can share ideas, brainstorming and whatnot. So I recommend having time before meetings, not necessarily after. If you are one who typically eats at your desk, or even if you're in a remote setting and you aren't able to get that face-to-face interaction anymore, try to make time to have lunch with others. So again, if you're in a remote setting, maybe it's meeting up with somebody at a park, or maybe it's something like having a Zoom meeting with somebody over lunch. Or if you are in an office setting, eating in the break room together. So whatever your situation may be, try to find something that allows you to step away from the actual work that you are doing and connect outside of that. And then of course, another tip for making time is running to the local coffee shop, maybe taking a quick 10-minute walk just to step away again from your work, get in a different setting, get in a place where you're a little bit more comfortable and you can connect outside of work. And then specifically with team building, I know we get questions like this sometimes, and I think this can definitely be tricky for a director, a supervisor, but even as one being on a team, sometimes it's tricky to find ways to connect with your team outside of just the average small talk. How are the kids? How's the dog? How was the movie you saw last night? So try to do these little team building activities. So one is show and tell. I know that can sound a little silly since we're not in kindergarten anymore, but this could also be a designated time before a weekly team meeting, right? And it could be showing a picture. Maybe it's actually bringing in some prized possession, maybe a memorabilia, whatever it may be, vacation souvenir. Bring it in, explain to everybody why you brought it in, why it means something to you, and then it allows for individuals to connect on something that maybe you wouldn't have brought up otherwise. Something a little bit deeper in terms of a team building activity would be, what is your why? So what is the reason you come to work? What is the reason why what is your purpose within the workplace here in your specific role? And again, this could be conversational, which would be a little bit deeper, or maybe it is something as simple as a photo and showing this photo of your family or the mountains or whatever it may be, whatever is driving you to come to work every day and try to be your best self. Community puzzle. So this could actually be a physical puzzle if you are in the workplace. I know at least at GBS, we have a few departments here and there that set up tables and everybody kind of goes in throughout the day and does a few pieces here and there, and it's a fun little way for those teams to connect. But then also it could be something as simple as a brain teaser. So maybe one individual is responsible for finding a brain teaser each week, mailing it or emailing it to the entire team, and everybody can kind of communicate about it or do it separately, but at least everybody has the common goal of completing the little brain teaser. An after work activity is always great. Again, similar to eating lunch or doing a coffee break. Getting out of the office setting can help everybody bond a little bit more. And again, all of the bonding, all of the connecting is really going to come back to your overall work purpose, and you are going to be a better employee, have more productivity, and really be more effective in your role. And so some after work activities could be something like trivia, cooking classes, escape room, happy hour. It doesn't always have to be happy hour. It could be something that gets you to kind of interact with your team a little bit more. And then another team building activity would be something like a book club. You can find a book that's either a team building book or one that's just completely fun. And then every couple of weeks you come together and just talk about it. And then if you are looking for a fun little activity to do with your team or even within your whole entire company, feel free to scan this feel free to scan this QR code and you will get our fun activity, get to know you bingo. So it just asks a few questions, or there's a few little statements on there and you need to find somebody who has done one of the activities in the square. So to wrap up, we really want to focus on having those strong relationship qualities such as trust, respect, open communication. This is really what's going to help build and start that foundation of a strong relationship. And then remember, as I've mentioned, benefits of strong relationships could be increasing productivity, communication, collaboration, creativity, even your overall health and well-being. And then, of course, different ways to cultivate those relationships is making time for individuals, whether that's lunch, coffee, after work. Make sure you are practicing strong communication skills. And then, of course, doing team building activities every now and then. So thank you so much. I hope that you yourself can find purpose within your role in the workplace, and that you can also cultivate these different relationships within your workplace setting, because it will ultimately help you with your overall well-being and, again, finding your purpose within your work. Thank you so much for joining today, and we will see you soon.